Welcome to the Metal Collector. This video will be about 10 good releases I had almost forgot I had in my collection. Stay tuned. Good evening YouTube and welcome once again here at the Metal Collector, and cheers. It's freaking hot today here in Denmark. So this video, like I said in the beginning, will be about 10 good releases I had almost forgot I had in my collection. The idea for this video, I got it the other day when I did another video. I remembered an old band. I had an album. I listened a lot to that album in a period, and then, you know, I just forgot about the band and that album. Today I don't think today I've listened to it again, but besides that, I think it's like 4 or 5 years since I last heard it. And then I was thinking, I wonder how many more of these releases I have in my collection, and actually pretty many. I think most of other collectors, I think you will agree that you have lots of stuff that perhaps you have listened a lot to, and actually you thought were good albums, but you buy so many new things. So often you forget about, besides the classic stuff and your own favorite albums, you forget about these good albums and what they actually gave you when you listen to them. So I've found 10 good releases that I heard a lot when I just got the stuff. And this is a little what can I say, dedication to these albums, because it's not albums that I think deserves to be forgotten. So this is my little tribute for these releases. And anyway, I have more, but I've just chosen 10, and perhaps I'll make a part 2 of this one. Let's jump into it. The first band is actually the one that got me on this idea. It's Before the Dawn, a Finnish melodic band. And I think, you know, I've listened to this again today, and I remembered why I thought this album were good. I bought it because I saw the band open for Katatonia way back in Copenhagen once. And I thought actually they were better than Katatonia. I'm not a big fan of the band, but I was, you know, attending this concert because of some friends who were huge Katatonia fans. But the opening act, Before the Dawn, I really enjoyed them, and I bought this album afterwards. And it's, like I said, it's melodic, and you can easily hear it's from, these guys are from Finland. It has some melodic, you know, clean vocals, and it also have some, they're growling as well. And then you have this typical Finnish sound, Finnish melodic. I think the album was from 2000 and can remember 8. So, and I would say if you find a band like some of the Amorphous stuff, then you could probably hear some resemblances. So, but this album was, and still are, actually a good album. So I think I'll re-listen to this a couple of more times this week. So the next one, let's just take this. Rimfrost, the Swedish black metal band, not the Danish one, with the album A Frozen World Unknown. I bought this when I was buying some other black metal albums, from a guy, a Danish guy that has a lot of underground black metal. And he had some stuff, and this was, you know, on his list, and it didn't cost anything. And I actually thought it was the Danish band Rimfrost. But I was just checking the title out on the Metal Archives, and I found out it was a Swedish band, and I just, for fun, I gave it a listen on YouTube, and then I just said, okay, this is a very good album. So I bought it. Can't remember when it was released, but anyway, this album, I listened a lot to it when I got it, and I actually forgot that I owned it, and I had it in my collection. And I don't know, if you're into Immortal and that type of black metal, You would love these guys. Unless you think they're clones. I don't think it's a clone band. Directly not a clone band. But you can easily hear the inspirations they have. I don't know if this band is active anymore. But I promised myself when I got this I would check the other albums out. They have released other stuff as well. But I never followed up on that. So maybe I will today. So, but check it out if you're into Immortal and that type of black metal. They're from Sweden. The next one is an American band called Sworn Enemy. And this album is called The Beginning of the End. That was the title. Again, a band I only own this CD with the band. And it is metalcore, but it also contains some modern kind of fresh inputs and also some hardcore stuff as well. I'm not a huge fan of metalcore, but when it started out, when people began to use the term metalcore about this new kind of stuff that came around, I was interested. And this is one of those bands that I gave a listen, and I actually thought the album was good. I just listened to this again today, and it's still a pretty decent, good album. Especially the songs Scared of the Unknown and Save Your Breath. That was also my favorites from back when I really listened to it. This is from 2006. And what can I say? This, if you're into the early stages of metalcore, where it was more, there were more inputs from the traditional hardcore, almost like it's not to be compared with a band like Sick of It All, but from Sick of It All's later period, you can hear these guys. I've probably been listening to some Sick of It All on some of the stuff, some of the passages, and also some, like I said, modern kind of thrash, with especially when it's really pounding ahead. That's really cool. And then they have these tendencies trying to put some, not melodic death metal, but still, this, a little bit of that kind of stuff, trying to mix it up a bit. It's a very hard pounding album. I still think it's a good album, and if I'm in the mood for something like a metalcore attack, this would probably be one of those albums I would put on again. And now I've remembered the album, and I actually listened a lot to it when I just got it. So, the next one is the Danish doom metal band Black Wrath, and the album A Pyre of Lost Dreams. Also the titles are gone. This is probably one of the heaviest doom albums I've ever listened to. It's very dark, it's very doomy, and it's heavy as fuck. But when I got this, I was totally hooked, and I actually still am. I think one of the greatest songs within the doom metal, Nocturnal Dominion, that's the title. The second song from this album is one of the greatest doom tracks ever. But again, when I was running around today and looking at the stuff, and just refinding bands or albums I had forgot about. And this album just said, like, oh yeah, Black Wrath. I was just like, okay. And this is just an album that you may not forget, because it's so good. Only 4 tracks on this, long songs, but really, really good. If you're into almost funeral doom, listen to this. Black Wrath, A Pyre of Lost Dreams. Check this out. Especially Nocturnal Dominion. I really love that song. So this is really a tribute for this album, because it's a shame that I had almost forgot about it. It's way too long since I last heard it. But I'll make up for that. Now it's time for a couple of tapes. Razor Wire with Coming Out. These guys were from, as far as I remember, it was from it will come up eventually. But this is speed metal, thrash metal, with full-blown Attack Ahead. An EP, I think it's 5 songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 5 songs on it. And this is just an amazing EP. It has some Iron Maiden kind of inspirations here and there, and it's, I would say, probably more speed metal than thrash metal, but again, a little bit of both. But this, I know they did an album afterwards, and I have listened to it on the internet, but I never bought it because I thought it was a little bit too polished in you know, compared to this one. This is also pretty raw, but still with a lot of great melodies and just an energy that is great. This is, check these guys out. I can't remember where they're from. New Zealand, that was it. New Zealand. So Razorwire, check them out. Another tape also with full fresh Attack Ahead, Forced Kill with it's called Armed to Death, and it's a EP that has gathered the 2 demos they did. I don't owe any of the demos, but I owe this tape, and it's really good. This is, you know, just speed, aggression. It's 200 miles per hour just from start till finish. Yeah. If you like your thrash metal as fast as possible and very aggressive, check these guys out. Forced Kill. I'm not sure, but I think they have split up or something now, but they, as far as I know, they did something after this compilation tape. I think they did an EP or something. I don't think they have ever done a full-length album, unfortunately. But a couple of these guys, they are from Finland. I don't know if I said it before, but they're from Finland, and a couple of these guys also have been what's the bands? Speed Trap, involved with Speed Trap and also Ranger. And Ranger, if you don't know them, check them out. So next one are the band Dead Soul Tribe with the January Tree. This, you know, I like progressive metal, progressive rock, call it what you want, but I really need to be in the right mood to listen to that kind of stuff. But I remember when I got this, it was from the local music store, and at that time I listened a little bit more to the progressive stuff than I do today. I still enjoy it though, but not as much as I did back then. But this album is just amazing. The main writer in this band is the guy that also sang in what was Psychotic Waltz. Here he is called Devon Graves, I think, but back then he was called something else. I can't remember. I never were into Psychotic Waltz, but I got this album. Is the 3rd album by the band, and they have also, I also own the debut album. That's only called Dead Soul Tribe. But this album is really amazing, and I listened a lot to it when I just got it. The atmosphere, the whole, you know, the songwriting is just really great. I remember some people said that they sounded a little bit too much Tool, or tried to sound like Tool. But I don't know. I listened to this yesterday. Oh, sorry. I listened to this today, and yeah, I agree. Some of the inputs can be compared to some Tool, but it's not Tool at all. This is just, you know, it's a little bit difficult to describe. It's beautiful, atmospheric, progressive music. So, but it still holds up to this day. Check this out if you're into progressive metal with clean vocals and a lot of good details and funny details. Try and give Dead Soul Tribe a spin. Here comes a Swedish band, Skymning. And the album was called Storm Choirs. Yeah. This is really an oldie. Don't even from '99. I bought this when I received a compilation CD where there was a song from this album on, The Fields of Megiddo, at the Fields of Megiddo. I think the demo version was just called The Fields of Megiddo, but anyway. And after I heard that song, I ran out and sought this album out, and I found it, and I was just, yeah. This is actually a very interesting album. It would probably go under the term of melodic death metal. But again, the music itself, if you take the growling vocals out, it could easily fall under the genre of power metal in many ways. This is probably the closest example of power metal meeting melodic death metal I can come up with. A lot of great melodies, and also have this a little bit of the old vibe from the 90s Viking folkish kinds of bands that before it became Korpiklani and stuff like that ruled the folk metal scene. Remember bands like Tyrfing and Mythogyn. I can't remember the name. I remember some of the music. Mythogyn, isn't that the band's name? I can't remember. Stuff like that. This could easily fell under that. But this is really a great album. I listened to this today. A lot of melodies, and probably for some of the melodic death metal fans, there will be too much of that melody. I like it, anyway. So if you're into power metal meets melodic death metal, check Skimning out and Stormchoirs. I don't know how difficult it is to find today. I had some problems already back then when I got it from 99, 2000. Can't remember when I bought it. But here is an album called Zone of Alienation by the band Steelwing. So this is heavy metal with some power metal inspirations. And it's very traditional. A lot of Maiden and Halloween inspirations, and a little bit of Accept, perhaps, some places. And this is the second album from the band. I also have the first one, but this was my favorite of those two. I think they released a third album as well before they split up in 2015 or something. I never got that, but I had almost forgot about this band and how much I actually listened to this when it came out, 2012. But luckily I just rediscovered this today and have been listening to it as well as the other albums. And if you're into heavy metal meets, the artwork tells you what to expect. So if you're into heavy metal and power metal, check these guys out. Steelwing with Zone of Alienation. Also check out the first one. It's called Lord of the Wasteland, I think. The last item in this bunk. It's from Iceland. It's Stunfari with the album Semskugin. I think that's Semskugin. I think that is how to pronounce it. Now, I did a review of this once, and the band sent it to me, and I was really overwhelmed how the atmosphere grabbed you. It's a two-man band, and you can, I'm not out to offend anyone, but you can easily hear that it's underground. I don't think they have been used. I don't think they've been using click tracks or anything. Just done what they felt like. But I don't care, even though there are some fails here and there, and they are not always tight. The whole atmosphere surrounding this album is just amazing. It's atmospheric black metal, but the black metal parts are okay, and it's what they are, but the atmospheric, more ambient, I would say, stuff are really good, with some, I don't know, it's just building up for the next black metal attack, and then it just goes down again. Long songs and everything. It's a very cold album. This album is great for a cold winter evening. with a candlelight on all this. But again, an album I really enjoyed and forgot about, unfortunately. Now I remember it again. And I was just checking, they have actually been very busy, these guys. They have released at least 2 albums more, I think, and some other stuff. I have to dig into this band. This is the only album I have with them. So, this was my, yeah, 10 releases, 10 good releases I almost forgot I had in my collection. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I enjoyed revisiting, rehearing. You know, I've enjoyed making this video and also enjoyed listening to these albums once again. So hopefully you'll check some of this stuff out. It's good. So, and until next time, stay heavy out there. Bye.